It probably would have helped to have some kind of script or something. That'd probably make things easier. But, you know, we're here not because things are easy, but because this is where I want to be. Hello, everybody. I am Mittens The Mailbox, and I have been gone for an entire year. At this point, almost a year and a quarter. Been gone for a while. And I just wanted to make the effort. I wanted to finally sit down and do something about this. Make it back, even if just once. So, what am I doing? Where have I been? What's been going on? That is a deeply layered question, honestly. It has been, gosh, I think I just looked at the a calculator, and it was, as of recording this, it's been 408 days since my last video. So it's been a while. The last time I put out a video was December 31st, 2024, for my yearly New Year's video. I enjoy making those. There's quite a few videos. To get a little off topic here, there's quite a few yearly, annual videos that I like making. And, my yearly update videos, my anniversary videos, my New Year's videos as well. I love making those. They bring me a lot of joy. It's nice to see how I've grown and changed over the years, and having those anniversaries and New Year's just to look back on is a very wonderful thing. But I missed them last year completely. It's not exactly that 2025 flew by. It's just that, man, was that a year and a half, honestly. It felt like I aged 2 years in the span of one. But what happened? Where have I been? What kind of, what changed out of the previous years to, well, have me making this video right now? So, if we want to talk about what happened last year and why I haven't posted for over a year, we really need to go back to 2022. I know that's crazy. That was over 4 years ago now, or I guess over three. So, how does that have anything to do with what happened a year ago? It seems like a really big difference. In truth, 2022 is where everything kind of started. That was the year I graduated. I was out for about 9 months before I got my first job, which is why YouTube did so well that year. It was the first time in, gosh, I think the entire time that I had done YouTube that I wasn't in school. And so for the first time in ever, I had a chance to fully devote myself to making videos and playing games and posting that stuff here and there. And it did really well. Some of my favorite videos were made that year. I talk about that regularly with my friends and with my audience here and over on like Twitch and stuff. There's actually a lot of videos I'm really proud of. But the one notoriously that I talk about a lot is the Hemlock's film, the hour and 48 minutes like documentary deep dive that I made into the story of Hemlocks that I was a part of. It is the longest video I've ever made. It's the most well made video I've ever made. There's things here and there that can be improved, but I am still incredibly proud of it uh, over 3 years later. And I think that kind of shows how good of a video I consider it to be. That even 3 years later, I can still look back on it and watch it and go, I think I did a great job. I really put in all the effort I could, and it shows in the quality, in like the production value compared to my other videos. I brought out all the stops for it. But in a way, there was almost like an omen that I had because of it. I made it this goal to finish this video on time and make it one of, if not the biggest project I had ever worked on and edited and completed, and it was. And even in the video, if you go to a certain part, you can see as I'm talking and like the background facts and footage is playing, you can see me say for a very brief moment that this might be the biggest project I'll ever work on. And if it is, I'm proud of that. And, well, it kind of is. Without me realizing it, it did end up being the biggest project I've ever worked on up until this point. Because after 2022, as many of you are probably aware, or aren't, I had to get ready for, reality really, really fast. I spent most of the year finding a job. I got a job in like May. It's the job I'm still working at, looking to move and getting ready to move out of that and move to a different job now. Only took 3 years. But I spent a good chunk of the year, basically the entire year, learning how to drive, getting my driver's license, basically getting everything set at the bank. I consider 2023 to be the year where like I had to get checked with reality and go, okay, how am I going to live? Set myself up for the rest of my life. Which was difficult. It drained a lot out of me that year. It was a lot. It is something I still think back on and try to remember and go like, yeah, that was a lot to go through. And I remember it being like super draining and exhausting just to constantly have these worries on my back of how long is it going to take me to figure this out? How do I balance the worries of, myself and my family and also wanting to continue working on these hobbies of mine, YouTube and Twitch and stuff. How do I balance all of that? And I didn't balance it great. Well, I don't think it was something that could be balanced great, if I'm being honest. It was just rough. But by the end of the year, things were looking up. Really, like genuinely, they were. I had a stable job. I had an income now. I could drive myself to work. And I had made some of my best streams ever. I got a 3D model from a good friend of mine. I completely changed up how my streams looked and felt. And for the first time since I had started streaming back in the end of 2020, I believe my anniversary is December 22nd, I really felt like my channel was mine and I was making big strides to improving it and making it what I felt was best for me. And then 2024 hit, and I realized that was fucking nothing. Apologies for the swear. But it really felt like, oh, okay, 2023 was the year where I had to figure out reality. 2024 was the year where I had to figure out socially where I was and where I wanted to be. Because I lost a lot of friends that year. It sucked. I believe I've talked about this on streams over the years, but 2024 was very mentally damaging for me personally because I felt like no matter what I did or how hard I tried, things just blew up in my face. And not because really anything I did, it just happened. Friends don't stay. The friends you meet are not the ones you'll be with forever. And I had to take that to heart that year. Obviously, it's not the first time I've ever lost somebody or had to leave a friend group or had to deal with social issues. But there was a lot that happened that year. I separated from a very big part of my life, like a friend group that I knew a lot of people in. I had to leave all of them, not to mention leaving servers that I had been a part of, reevaluating my friendships in other places, and just taking it in and going, wow, okay, I can't trust these people. I need to change things. And that basically happened for the first 6 months of the year. Hence why I had my first genuine break making content that year for, I want to say, 3 months of 2024. I stopped making streams, I didn't make videos, and like not making videos was always an inconsistent thing for me. There were some months that I did really well, some months that I didn't. It's always been a gamble with me, if I'm being honest. But one thing I've always been able to pretty consistently do is stream. I find streaming to be a bit easier than making videos. Like, it takes a little less time to get them set up. You're able to do it for longer and more frequently during the week. So I find it to be a good middle ground for myself while I'm making videos or while I'm, having trouble making videos is at least if I'm being consistent with Twitch and streaming, then at least I'm doing something. But that was really the first time that I stopped streaming as well. where I took a step back for longer than a couple weeks and was like, nope, I'm going to take a break. I am severely burnt out from issues in my life and my circles, my friend circles, and it's time I just step back. Making videos and streams isn't going to help me right now. So I did that, and ultimately it worked really well. I felt refreshed. I felt much better when I came back. It was really the first time that I had ever taken a break. I think ever. Yeah, I think like I mentioned earlier. It never lasted more than a couple weeks before I'd be back making something else. I've always been one to not leave for too long. Even if I'm not being consistent, I do try my best to at least keep up with everybody and continue going. It's a personal thing that I try to stick to. And it was strange because, much like I had thought would happen, it was weird being away. And once I had been away, I kind of got that taste of what it's like to not be constantly thinking about it. Or at least not constantly doing things, I should say. And that stuck around. Not as much as I think it would have had things played out differently, but because of how they did, the allure was there to step back from it all, to stop making things even just for a little bit. It stuck in my brain. Again, how does all of this relate to 2025? You know, I've spoken about 3 years before, the best year of YouTube being 2022, a really good year for Twitch being 2023, but also a really difficult, reality check in my life. And then 2024 being a big social change for me. How does all of that feed into 2025? Well, I am somebody who likes to give a lot of pretext and context when I explain things, so that's the main reason. But all of that to say, 2025 was its own interesting case, and it really all started because of one thing. My computer got reset. That is the thing that I attribute to how the year went and messed with me for a very, very, very long time. For those of you who don't know, I got a new computer for the first time in 3 years at the end of 2024. I saved up quite a few months for it, set aside money for it, planned out the best way to use my money while also not like breaking my bank and, being unwise with it. I really tried my best to do as good of a job as I could. So all of that happens, and there's issues not only with Windows that I still to this day cannot explain, but also with my graphics card. It turns out that my graphics card was faulty and had something wrong with it in the internals. Couldn't tell you what. So I get it checked out because I'm worrying and being like, I just spent all this money on a new computer and it's broken and it's not working and I can't do anything. So, long story short, they check it out. They can't find anything and then they offer to reset the computer to see if that fixes the issues. I let them because I didn't realize what exactly the reset meant, and I lost a pretty big part of my life. For those who don't know, I am a big Minecraft enjoyer, as you can probably tell by the fact that Minecraft footage is playing in the background. I am somebody who's played Minecraft every day or every week for the last 9 years, 10 years now. I first heard about the game in 2015, first started playing it in 2016, so my account is over a decade old, and I basically haven't stopped playing it since. But my history within the game has always been very segmented, just because of technology issues that somehow follow me everywhere I go. My original time playing on Minecraft from 2016 to late 2018 was cut off from me because the hardware itself failed. Like the computer itself just went into a boot cycle and didn't work. So I thought I lost all that stuff for a long time. Turns out I didn't. Almost everything was still there. The hard drive was completely unaffected, and I was able to pull everything off really easily. Then we get to the second period, which is late 2018 to early 2021. This was the second laptop that I had. It was the first one I officially owned, but much like the first one, went into an infinite boot cycle, and for real this time, I couldn't get into the hard drive. It was something on it was corrupted, and it prevented anybody from being able to see what was going on inside of it. So, my original creative test world that I built things on, original creative worlds, or survival worlds, basically everything from that time, all of my screenshots, my pictures, all of it completely gone. And I was really upset about that. I made some really good memories during that time period through 2019 and 2020, and they meant a lot to me. And to have them basically cut off one day, just left in a state of like Schrodinger's cat of not being able to tell if I was going to ever be able to see them again or not, or if just the allure of maybe one day having them if I paid enough money to a company to see it, that was kind of heartbreaking. I didn't like it. But I kept the hard drive all the same, just in case maybe one day I could figure out a way to fix it. So that time comes and goes. I get my first desktop, which lasted me until December 2024. It served me a very long time. It took such great care of me. And it was the first time that a computer didn't fail on me. It actually had almost no issues. It was just a little older. Even when I got it, it wasn't the newest tech. It was always going to be a little on the slower side, and especially because streaming means a lot to me and I care a lot about wanting to make good streams, it was something that I was going to have to upgrade my computer at some point, and it was just going to be easier to get a new computer. So for the first time, after all of this, and mind you, by this point, I finally figured out how to get into my old drive. So for the first time in forever, I actually had all of my Minecraft history put together from that first laptop, the second laptop, and my current computer. All of my everything was together in one place. I managed to move everything over successfully. All of my Minecraft history stopped being segmented across data errors and hard drives and issues. It was all together, and I felt complete for the first time ever. And it was a great feeling to just know all of my history had finally been put back together. And I could live and enjoy my Minecraft time now, looking back and knowing my screenshots reached back from the very first time I played Minecraft till today, that I had all of my worlds back, and I was able to just enjoy myself. And then the reset happened. It is partially my fault. I did not realize what they meant by reset when I took my computer in and they had me, sign the form that says, like, hey, if they ask, I'm okay with getting my computer reset. I asked them, hey, if this ever happens, does it keep all of my files and stuff? And they said yes. I was like, okay, sure. Especially if they need it. I don't expect them to, but maybe they do. And if it comes to that, then my stuff will be fine. But there was one little issue that I didn't realize until after I got my computer back, which is that one, my graphics card issues were still there. They did nothing. I spent a lot of money trying to get my computer fixed, and they essentially did nothing for it. I was really upset by that. But not only that, I had now officially lost everything that I had in my Minecraft folder. All of my worlds, all of my world backups, all of my screenshots, everything, and I mean everything, was gone. After I had just spent the last 4 years trying my best to put everything back together, I had essentially lost everything overnight, and I didn't even realize it until I turned my computer back on. Because, of course, I went and turned my computer back on, saw that there were some missing programs, was like, okay, I'll reinstall them, and then quickly realized that what they meant by reset was that the basic Windows reset, which keeps all of your, which keeps your downloads, documents, picture folders, but it removes all of your app data, games, and stuff. Everything that's not specifically Windows related. And I didn't know that until I just log on to Minecraft after getting my computer back and go, oh, it's all gone. And mind you, it's hard to put into words how that felt. I was lost for a couple weeks because of it. I guess to kind of put into perspective, if we include just the screenshots I had from February 2021 to the beginning of 2025, I had 5,000 screenshots over the last 3 years, or over the last 4 years, I should say, and it was all wiped out without my knowledge. and because of my decision. And the worst part was it didn't even fix my computer. So obviously, that was a long time ago. I was able to get some of it back. I got about 25% of my screenshots back. I think it was around 12, 1300, just because I am a chronic screenshot sender. And I looked through genuinely every single place I had ever sent screenshots ever and managed to get back over 1,000 screenshots. So let me tell you, is huge. I feel incredibly lucky that I have anything still left from that time, but it's not for nothing. I didn't just happen to lose 75% of everything I had ever screenshotted in the game over the last 4 years and just walk away from it. Because it wasn't just the screenshots, it was every single survival and creative world I had on my computer, including, for anybody who doesn't know, my long-term survival worlds. You could even say my forever worlds that I had been streaming basically every month since 2021 when I started that world and had put over, I think the final number was over 200 streams in, purely streaming that world and building it up. I had streamed it with friends, I had streamed it by myself. It had followed me since basically the beginning of my Twitch journey, and it was completely gone. I managed to save one backup of it because, mind you, every single backup that I managed to get through like recovery software was completely broken. Every single world I had was basically gone. In that I had one backup on Google Drive that happened to be from May 20th, 2023. So I had a version of the world just from about 2 years earlier, which isn't great for anybody who's curious. It means that to get one of the worlds that I cared the most about back, the other one, my testing world, that had 4 years of memories in it, that was now completely gone, there's no way to get back, right? That one is gone. But this one, to get it back, I have to spend roughly about 200 hours just in footage alone, rebuilding everything to get it back, and also re-screenshotting every single thing I can because I lost all of my screenshots of Connection Point as well. That was the name I gave it. So, suffice to say, I was really, really upset. I had essentially given the order to erase 4 years of history, and even though I still had everything from my first laptop and my first desktop, which is basically 2018 to early 2021, which was amazing because I didn't have that before that year, I had lost everything else. And there was only, a quarter of what I had still left over. And that sucked. That sucked a lot. That sucked so, so much. And it led me to leaving everything behind. I didn't feel like I could make videos because what was I going to make videos on? Yeah, what did I have the energy to make videos about? Did I really want to make videos? Did I want to stream? Did I want to play games? Did I want to do anything? No, not really. Like, I was lucky enough that the reset didn't take away anything in my downloads or any of the art I had, and that the rest of my games were through Steam, so I didn't lose any progress there. It would have been a lot worse if I did, but just in losing that one game, it felt like I had lost everything, and I didn't know what to do with myself after that, which is why I disappeared for 4 months in 2025, which really sucked. I had a lot of plans for 2025. There were so many videos I wanted to make, so many streams I wanted to do, so many games I wanted to try. And at least for the first half of it, I just couldn't. I had to essentially step back from something that I cared so much about, editing and writing and scripting and voice acting and streaming and interacting and just building a community, building the life I wanted. I just had to stop because I couldn't handle it anymore. Not after losing something that important to me. So I did. And I stopped making anything until June of 2025. It is technically true that this isn't my first video since December 2024, but it's the first long form video that I've made. The first time I've really sat down and finally decided to make that choice. But I came back, I returned to streaming, and I've been streaming fairly regularly since then. There's been some ups and downs, work has gotten in the way, life has gotten in the way. Most recently, I got a minor case of tendonitis, and that stopped me from streaming for a couple weeks. But I'm recovering, I'm taking it easy, and trying my best. But all along the way, as I was, hanging out and making new friends in the Blocks for Pride SMP, as I was interacting with new communities and making new friends and trying new things out, I couldn't stop thinking about here, about my YouTube community. As small as it is, as small as this channel has always been, and probably will always be, I haven't been able to get my mind off of it. And there's been so many times, more times than I can count, that I have just sat in my room playing a game or live streaming, drawing, or doing something, and just thinking, maybe today's the day. Maybe today's the day I finally sit down and I return to making videos. I have so many ideas of what I could do, so many things I want to try out that I have been waiting for months, maybe even years to continue doing. Maybe today's finally the day that I'll do it. But it never is. Every day I sit there and I go, but how do I know I can return? How do I know that this is going to be any different, or that I can really make an effort and actually like commit to a comeback, commit to making videos again, commit my time and my effort among everything else I'm trying to do? How do I know that today is going to be the day, even if I say it is? And ultimately, that ends up working. It doesn't end up being the day. I don't go forward and I don't make those videos. But then the next day comes, or the next week comes, and I go, maybe today's the day. Rinse and repeat for roughly about a year. I have wanted so badly and for so long to make a video again, to return and try. But I never felt that the video I was going to produce was going to be good enough for what I wanted it to be. It didn't matter that I had been gone for long enough that it didn't matter what I made. I matter what I make. I care that the videos I make are good and enjoyable to watch and make you feel and tell a story. It's why I started. I started because I fell in love with the medium. I grew up watching Dan TDM when I first found YouTube in 2015, and as Minecraft became a central part of my life and my enjoyment and my very clearly hyperfixations, it showed me that there's a whole world out there of things I can make. There's so many speed paints I want to share with everybody. So many games I want to edit together and display proudly, like a little kid showing off her art to her family and going, look what I made. I have played so many new games over the last 2 years that I want to make into videos. So many speed paints of art that I've been working tirelessly on since I got my drawing tablet from my girlfriend last year. So many Minecraft episodes that I want to try and edit together. So many talks that I want to sit down and just share my feelings and my thoughts on. So many ideas have just been circling in my head, and it's just never ended up being the one to do it. I've never found that little push to get out of this place that I've entered after I lost all of my everything from Minecraft. But I can't do that forever. If I care enough about these projects, and I feel like I do, and I can't just let them sit and rot forever. I don't want to let my legacy end in 2024 with one rewind video and maybe a couple shorts talking about a series that's already over. I don't want that to be my legacy. I don't want that to be where I stop, because I want to do more. So here I am. I can't say today was any different than any other day. I can't say my motivation was any different than any other time that I've tried and thought about starting and made the plans and thought about the videos. All I can say is that whether or not this video goes out, I did something I haven't done before. I tried. I put my money where my mouth is. I've always talked about trying and just looking forward and putting your best foot forward, giving your best shot even if you know that nothing will work out. And failing is better than never trying and holding on to that regret, at least in my eyes. And recently I've seen a lot of videos of people sitting down and just talking while Minecraft's playing, and I thought, hey, if they can do that, maybe I can. So hey, Maybe nobody sees this video, and maybe I never even release this video. Maybe this is my legacy. Maybe this ends up being the last video I ever make, and I move on with my life. Or maybe it's the first step into remembering and reigniting the love that I have had for this platform for almost 9 years now. Maybe today is the day that I remember why I started. And maybe, just maybe, it gets to follow me into the rest of my life. But, we've got a long way to go before that. As it is, there's still a lot I need to do. I'm currently in the middle of finishing up reorganizing my Discord. I've reorganized it into the Moonlight Lounge. I've had a great time doing it. I just recently, at the end of 2024, when I came back from my hiatus, October, November, I think is when I finished everything, got everything set up. I switched over and had a new, like a soft debut of a new style, some new artwork, some new screens, and as I mentioned earlier, I have a lot of ideas for videos that I want to make. There's a whole bunch of speed paints that I want to release, whether with or without commentary. I think I can make some really fun shorts with that, and also some videos where I maybe sit down and talk, maybe just have some music on in the background. And beyond that, I think it'd be fun to start a Minecraft series. I think it'd be fun to finally get around to making, the end of the Stray series, some of the video game episodes that I've thought about, like, well, of course, now that I say it, I can't think of anything. But while I'm editing this, I can probably pull up some of the games that I've played that I've thought about making episodes on, or making videos on, maybe even having a series or two. The point is, there's a lot that I look forward to, and one of the hardest things for me has always been taking that first step. It's infinitely harder to continue something after you lose all hope in ever seeing it again. But it becomes a little bit easier once you take that first step back and just say, I want to try. Even just for a moment, I want to try. So we'll see how this goes. But yeah, that's about it. I guess this is kind of an update video, kind of an explanation about where I've been and what I've been feeling and what I've been up to since then. Playing a lot of Genshin Impact and Star Rail, hanging out with my friends. I've made some new friends in the time. For anybody new here, for anybody old, I regularly stream over on Twitch, Mittens The Mailbox. If you want to see streams after they go out, I have a VOD channel linked down below. I have a card website where you can find my commissions, my Trello, even things like my Blue Sky where I post often, and my Discord server where I put all of my announcements and my schedules and what I'll be up to. So if any of that interests you and you feel like sticking around for a little bit longer, I'd be more than happy to welcome you. And for anybody who doesn't, thank you so much for watching. I know it's not the most polished content that I've made today, but if it means I get to start my journey again, if it means something gets to change, then I can only hope that it'll be worth it. So thank you to everybody who was watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and do all the usual YouTube things that we all say to do. It really does help a lot for me to see it, being the channel that I am. But I've been Mittens The Mailbox. Hopefully I'll see you all again, and I will see you all next time.